Hi, and welcome to another video. Sit down, paint with me, and let's discover if you should buy acrylic markers too. At the time of recording this video, the only markers available were from Ohuhu. These markers were all over my Instagram feed from the past few months, and I wanted to get my hands on them too. The first thing I noticed was the packaging. It's just so compact and cute. The markers themselves feel very premium yet lightweight. For the upcoming illustrations, I'm also going to be using this Tombow brush pen. One of the pens have a firmer hard tip and the other has a softer tip. I'm starting off by testing the brush pens with the necessary croissant illustration. During the doodle, I was mainly looking out for the flow of paint, the firmness of the brush tip, and the ease of painting small details. Of course, I was also looking out for the opacity and the blendability of these markers. Let's discuss this in detail as we move on to the next doodle. But first, I'd like to know if you've already used acrylic markers before, and which brand do you have? Do you like them? Since these are my first set of acrylic markers, I can't really compare them with other available brands, but I can compare them with paint or sketch pens. I had an interesting comment pop up about whether this person wants to use acrylic markers or alcohol markers for basic drawings. Which brings us to the first feature of our acrylic markers, blendability. The reason I put blendability first on the list is because acrylic marker blending can either be a pro or a con based on your art style. In the painting, I used a brush to blend in the darker pink to the skin tone pink underneath. This could be easily done with a little bit of water or if the paint is still wet. I try to use my finger to smudge it in, but even after the smudging, you can still see the cheeks looking a little more red and distinguished from the face. When using acrylic markers for sketching, the brush strokes of paint are very evident and distinguished from each other. I don't have a first-hand experience with alcohol markers, but from the artists that I follow who use alcohol markers often, they achieve this very sticker, satin-like airbrush digital drawing feel. Which simply means that alcohol markers are far superior when it comes to blending. Whilst you have like a number of shades and transition shades and colors between each distinct hue so you can blend them in together. Speaking of which, that is one of the cons that I find in these acrylic marker sets from Ohuhu. One thing we know about Ohuhu is that they are very good with their colors. In their alcohol marker range of 320 colors, they have extremely light colors that barely show on the page and extremely dark colors. So I'm hoping that they also expand their acrylic marker range similarly. That, of course, is a con specifically to the Ohuhu Nahuku range. Now let's get into some of the other amazing features of acrylic markers. Besides blendability that depends solely on your art style and art preference, acrylic markers have great coverage in comparison to regular markers, and they have a greater opacity. When you compare these acrylic markers to acrylic paint, you can also notice that they dry rather quickly and have a drying time of about 5 to 10 seconds. Since they are acrylic paint, they have a slight sheen and tend to have a glossy finish. So I tried the acrylic markers on different papers, this one being my Strathmore Toned Tan sketchbook. The pens don't bleed through or on the paper and give me this nice, bright, vibrant finish. Similarly, I tested them on 200 GSM watercolor bookmarks. Here are some one-piece themed bookmarks I made with the acrylic markers. You can watch these shorts on my playlist. For the second part of this video, I've decided to make some quick Naruto sketches. I'll tell you why in a second. But first, a little disclaimer. At the time of making these sketches, I've used the acrylic markers every day for about 2 weeks. I've been able to get sketches out left, right, and center. So easy, so fast, so fun. So take it from me when I say some of my favorite features are the ease of use and the increase in productivity. This is something about me that you probably don't know, but I suck at anatomy. And I've been practicing boxes to get better at it along with some perspective. I'm switching between my Ohuhu fine liners and my Tombow brush pens from earlier to finish up these sketches. I like lining the sketches so that I can see them better underneath the paint. And the ink is water and alcohol proof, so that helps. So coming back to the reason I chose to do Naruto sketches was because of the Ohuhu acrylic marker color range. They have 24 vibrant colors and it reminds me of the old Naruto anime art style and color choice. You can't tell me these colors don't scream Naruto Uzumaki. The great thing about the Nahuku range is the shake to enjoy. This feature really helps the paint to flow out easily and does not allow the paint to get stuck and dried up in the tube. My Posca acrylic marker is pressed to use. This is quite unpredictable and I cannot control the flow of paint. I'm not listing this as a feature of acrylic markers because this feature really does vary between the brands and their specific range of acrylic pens. I forgot to talk about the nibs of these Ohuhu markers. I can't really compare them to the nibs of their alcohol marker range or the nibs of any other acrylic marker brands, but all I can say is that the nibs are pretty firm. The body and base of the nibs do not bend, even with pressure. The tip of the nib though is a little more flexible and we can paint small details and brush-like strokes with them. Again, just a reminder that this video is not sponsored by Ohuhu and they did not send me the pens. It's just the first set of acrylic markers that I could get my hands on. So take this as a first impression or an unbiased review. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't used alcohol markers, but I have used a fair share of regular markers and sketch pens. I personally love the children's book coloring style that I can achieve with these acrylic markers. Acrylic paint is also one of my favorite mediums to use, so I am quite accustomed to the quick drying times, opaque layering, and fast workflow of these paints. As we approach the end of the video, let's go over some of the best features of these acrylic markers. I hope you enjoyed watching the quick sketches and doodles, and I hope I helped you figure out if you should buy these acrylic markers too. And if you do not forget to leave a comment below on which brand you're planning to buy. Like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching till the end. I'll catch you in the next one.